Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
I am
afternoon, guys.
afternoon. Hey. I am Nicole Thornton, your sales manager, coach, and trainer for the Realty Group Atlanta. Make sure to follow me at Your Real Estate Stock Pro.
And hey, guys, this is Naysha Clark, coach and trainer for the Realty Group Orlando. Make sure you follow me at The Right Realtor, ATLFL.
All right, guys, the moment you have been waiting for. You don't want to miss it. We have Kim Skinner with Divvy Homes joining us today. Welcome, Kim.
And before we get started, we definitely want to say welcome to all of our guests today. We have Renita McCoy, Ricardo Lay, Amy Broadnax, and Miss D White. I see you, boo, on here. Yes.
Welcome, guys. We have got a great training and session for you today. And make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us at TCRG Closing the Gap.
And definitely, y'all know, before we get into the juices and the berries, we definitely want to go ahead and look at our current stat highlights, all of our new contracts for February, all of our sales up through February 16th at 12 o'clock today. So let's see what those look like.
All right. So the moment we have all been waiting for, building wealth towards home ownership. So guys, as you know, it's no secret. We've got those buyers that for whatever reason, maybe they don't have quite the amount of money that they need to purchase a home. Maybe there are some credit challenges, an illness in the family, or they relocating. Whatever the reason is, it's always great to have other alternatives to help our clients, because our goal is to definitely secure the home for them. And this program with Divvy does all of that. So we thought it would be great today to hear directly from Kim, who's our Divvy representative. She's going to provide us with all the tips and tricks about the program. So Kim, we're going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you all for inviting me to join you today. I love the closing the gap. That's really, I think, core to what Divvy's mission is. I really just love that so much. So thank you. I am here on the agent success team at Divvy. My role is really to make you guys successful with Divvy. That's what I'm here for. Anything that I can do, share with you to grow your business with Divvy. We have some top performing agents here that, Divvy is 20-30% of their business, and it works. It works really well for a set of clients that don't, like Nicole said, don't really work going the traditional route right now. So yeah, I've been here at Divvy for about 3.5 years and have been working on the customer side on the sales team, mostly. So I've worked with lots of customers, and I'm really familiar with the underwriting process here at Divvy. So that's another thing that I can help you all with if you need help with your clients that are in underwriting, figuring out what we need or any of that. So that's what I'm here for. And again, really excited to join.
Well, we are excited to have you, and we can't thank you enough. Definitely just speaking with the representative for Divvy that, can give us those tips and tricks. It's really important. So we're excited to hear all about what you're going to share with us today. So Josh, next slide.
All right, very good. So I included this slide. This is a quote by our CEO, Adina. And this is really kind of sums up our mission here, is really to help people get homes, right? Help that, just grow that American dream, right? Help folks get on that first rung of the ladder so that they can keep going. I think that it's really personal for her and has become really personal for all of us here. So what is Divvy? Really, our program is designed for folks who, may not have a perfect financial past, right? They for whatever reason, maybe they can't qualify for a mortgage right now. And there are lots of things we can kind of talk about later, but different life situations, right? And so maybe it's that, maybe it's credit, maybe it's cash. We're going to help them lock down a home price. Our appreciation on our buyback price is capped at 7%. Per year. And in this market, I think that that's really important for people to understand. We do have buyback price, but it's not going to be, maybe even what you see in the market in 3 years, right? So that's one really cool aspect. Saving for the future down payment, that is a big part of what we do here, and all of our clients are required to build equity while they're renting. So we want to help them in several different ways, lots of different ways we do this, but we want to help them get mortgage ready. We want to help them get to the point where they're ready. They have the cash, in that equity savings account. We're also going to help them build their credit while they're renting, and then they can take it over when they're ready. So our lease term is 3 years. They can purchase any time during the 3 years. If they decide they don't want to purchase, they can walk away.
I have a question, and I don't know if you're going to cover this later in the presentation. What happens if they decide to walk away at the end of the 3 years?
Yeah, good question, Nicole. And again, if you guys have questions, feel free to jump in. I think it's really helpful if we answer questions as we're talking about a subject, because probably other people have something, a similar question. That is covered on this slide. If the tenant walks away, if they decide they don't want to purchase that house, what they're going to lose is 2% of what we paid for the house. They're going to lose, in a lot of cases, that initial 2% down payment. We consider that a relisting fee. And all of the equity that they've built in the home while they've been renting is cashed out to them. So it's just given back to them. It's all still their money. All we keep is 2% of what we paid for the house. And that can be any time during the lease term.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just so I can understand. So, because this, I guess, was a misconception with me when it came to Divvy. So with Divvy, the only thing that you all keep, because once the property goes under contract, then the client has to pay their down payment within 48 hours, 72 hours of going under contract?
That's right.
Okay. So if they decide anytime within that 3 years that they do not want to move forward for some reason, they don't like the schooling or the neighborhood or the neighbors got too loud music, I don't know, and they decide to walk away, all they lose is the 2% and they get to keep all of their equity?
That's right. That's right. There is, and I'll throw this in here now, there is kind of an exception to that, and it's so minor, but I wanted to just say it. There's a pet fee. So if they have pets, that's great. We don't charge a pet fee up front. They can have up to 3 pets. But if they don't purchase, we're going to keep 2% of what we paid for the house and then $300 as a pet fee. So that $300 would come out of their equity that they had saved. But that's a pet cleaning fee similar to any other lease agreement. But they don't pay it up front. And I think a big part to understand there is we want folks to feel like homeowners. Right? We want them to feel like they are the homeowners. It's really, really important. And we want them to feel like they can paint and they can change the floors or the fixtures, those kinds of things. And, that pet fee, that's why we don't charge that up front. It's a little silly. And so, but I wanted to mention it. It would be a charge in addition to that 2% if they had pets.
And I think that's great. You mentioned something. You said they can paint, they can change the floor, so they can do whatever they want to the home. Now, what if they decide they don't want to buy it? Is there any concern for them in that area if they've changed certain things about the home?
No, not at
Okay.
all. Not at
Awesome.
all. They can do anything that doesn't require a permit. So they wouldn't be able to put in a pool or, add a building, anything like that. And fences, fences are a little tricky. We'd want to know for sure and make sure that the fence was going to be on the property line. But really, we want them to feel like that's their home and they can make it their home.
Wow.
So qualifications, this is pretty straightforward. There are a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. Minimum FICO score is 550. We use the FICO version 2 and Vantage. This says FICO 9. I don't think we're actually requiring a 550 on the FICO 9. But the FICO 2 and Vantage have to be at least 550. Steadily employed for the last 3 months, and it doesn't have to be the same employer. So if they've changed jobs, a month ago, that's okay. We can use that income and then the pay stub from their prior job. We just need to see the last 3 months. And then proof of $2,000 in the bank. This is proof of funds required for all of our clients, have to show that to get fully approved. It isn't in addition to a down payment, and it isn't the down payment. It's just so that we can see that they have some money in the bank. And then no bankruptcy or eviction in the last 12 months. Here, no bankruptcy. So what this is the bankruptcy must have been discharged for at least 12 months and no evictions within the last 12 months. Debt to income ratio of up to 50%. What we do, what the underwriting team does to calculate a budget is 50% of their gross income and then subtracting their monthly credit debt. So that's credit cards, car loans, and that kind of thing. And so yeah, so if they make, $5,000 a month and they have no credit debt, their monthly budget's going to be $2,500. Okay. And it's a free application. It doesn't cost anything to apply, which I think is really cool in our application. Is it really is so simple. It takes 4 or 5 minutes to complete, and we run a soft credit check. So it doesn't impact their score at all. So if you have clients that you just want to see, what we can do, that application is pretty simple. All right, this just kind of outlines the documents that we need for each income source. And this might help you if you have, a client that has a specific type of income. The ones that I'll call out here that are maybe a little bit more difficult for folks sometimes are the government benefits and the child support. Government benefits, we have to have the awards letter, and sometimes folks don't know where they put it. That is something that we have to include that income. And also we need a court order for child support. So even if we can see that they've been receiving it on their bank statements, we can't use that income unless there's a court order.
I have a question, Kim.
Yes.
So if you have a client that, is a salary employee, uploads those documents, also uploads their government assistance, and, they're approved for $2,500, and the house that they fell in love with is $2,600, and they say, oh, well, I have more income, can they go back? What's the process of going back and say they get the court order for the child support to show that? Is it a long drawn out process? Because some companies is different. So I just want to know what Divvy's process is.
Good question, Naysha. It is not a huge process. It's definitely something we can do, and we can get that done within minutes. I'll tell you, if there's an offer in play, I am going to urgently Slack the underwriting team and have them review those documents. We're not going to delay an offer if we can help it. So definitely something that we can add. And another thing, if it was that kind of scenario where the monthly payment was just $100 over, the clients have the option of putting down a higher down payment if they have the cash. And a lot of folks don't, right? So it's not something that I always mention, we can go higher. just because that 2% down payment for a lot of folks is a lot of money, right? And so they're struggling to come up with that 2% and then also the 1 month upfront. And so throwing in an extra, elevated down payment makes it hard for people. But if you know that they do have the cash for that,
Mhm.
it's definitely something we can do. So we can maybe say we can do their down payment as 3% or 4% if they can do that. And then that will lower the monthly to make it work.
Now, there's a cap on the amount that they can put down. Is that correct, Kim? Outside of the,
There is a cap, and it has to do with how much equity they're building. And I think that may be on the next slide, but we'll go into that in a minute. If the client is building to 5% equity over 3 years, their down payment is capped at 5%. Just because that 5% is their equity, we're just going to put it in reserve and hold on to it. They wouldn't be able to do 6% down payment if we're only building them to 5%.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what the cap is. It's really just the max of whatever their equity build is.
So talk to us a second. I see self-employment, and I went through this situation with you guys as well. I had a individual that worked in the TV and film industry and worked on projects. Talk to us a little bit about when you have, or the self-employed individual who's not quite reporting all of their income on their tax returns. And so looking at a last year's tax return may not necessarily qualify them for the program. Are there any alternatives to that? Can we just look at the bank statements?
Yes, we can look at the bank statements, but I'll tell you, in those situations, I would want to work with you guys on those, because the underwriting team doesn't understand a bunch of random deposits, right? They don't know where that's coming from. And so they can't really tie it to an income source. And so what would help is maybe the pay stubs for each one. We could do that, but that kind of work, they don't get a pay stub with year-to-date income and taxes taken out and all of that. So we really need to explain it to the underwriting team thoroughly, because and it may be your client that I was working on had a situation
Probably was.
Yeah. So the gigs, like the crew work, right, where they're working for this company and this company, it's something that we need to really document and even write out for the underwriting team. This is what my income is. And it's, I made this much from this employer and it was deposited on this day, and really explain that. It's not super common, but for those, we have to really just write it out, I think. And so for that, what they're looking at is 3 months, always just 3 months. And so the tax return, they want to see the tax return. It's not really going to have an impact on their budget necessarily. They just want to see that they were employed and they were working for this company. It's not something new necessarily, but really for self-employment, they're looking at the last 3 months. Last 3 months. And then what was your other question, Nicole? I'm sorry.
I don't remember. It'll come to me.
Okay. Yes, and two, if there was, a month in between where they didn't have gigs or didn't have income, self-employed, maybe a realtor, right? Didn't have a sale that month. That's another thing where it's really tough, because they're only looking at the last 3 months and they're averaging that gross income for 3 months. And so it's going to look like not quite right. And so in that case, it might be good to wait until that client has a full 3 months, because we want them to have a budget that they're going to be able to work with, right? We want them to have a budget that's going to help them find the house that they want. And if there was a gap, if we can fill that, if we can just wait a month or two so that we can get a really solid budget for them.
Awesome. Okay. Renita, I'm sorry, Renita has a question. Just to clarify, independent contractor does not need to show their last year tax returns as long as they have a 1099. Is that correct, Kim?
That's right. That's right. We need a 1099 just so that we can see income for the year, because we're still early in the year, right? We need to see that there was income last year. Yeah, that is right. one thing that I wanted to mention kind of while we're on this subject, and I really just want to circle back to, is our goal is to get customers, to get your clients into homes that they're going to really love,
Right.
homes that they're going to want to buy. And so that's why it is sometimes a good idea to wait. If there's a gap in income, to wait until we can get a really solid 3 months, because we want them, we don't want to buy a house for someone because they say, oh, well, my budget's really low, but I'm just going to find whatever I can find. That's not the best experience.
Right.
So that's not what we want for them.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Slide, Josh.
Good, good. Okay, so this one, I wanted to talk with you guys about how our budgets are presented, and then also how the down payment and equity build play into it. The monthly payment is the actual approval for Divvy. When you are in your agent portal and you look at your client, you're going to see a home price. You're going to see a range. It's going to be, 180 to 190, something like that. That is not the approval. And so that's one thing that agents sometimes have a hard time wrapping their heads around, because you're used to seeing that home price as the approval. Divvy doesn't do it that way because it's rent, right? So we're thinking in terms of how much can someone pay each month. We're going to say, $2,000. Part of that is rent. Part of that is the equity savings piece. And in Atlanta, that $2,000 is going to translate to an estimated home price. And so that's going to give you somewhere to start. All right. If your client has a really high FICO score, say, and they only have to build to maybe 3 or 5% equity over 3 years, their home budget range is going to be a little higher than someone who's building to 10%. That person's home budget estimate is going to be a little bit lower because more of their monthly payment is going toward the equity portion. So they're not going to be able to get as much house maybe as someone who's building less equity, where more of their payment is rent. Okay. And I think it's the next slide that'll talk about how we look at the down payment and equity builds based on their FICO score. But oh yeah, thank you, Josh. This is how it breaks down, and with the FICO score and what they qualify for as far as down payment and how much they're going to be building in equity over 3 years. Any client whose FICO score is below 600 is going to be required to build to 10%. That's going to be 25% of their monthly payment. So monthly payment budget, the approval is $2,000. That means that you're going to be looking for a home for them that rents for $1,500. $500 of that payment is their equity savings. So they're not going to be looking for a home that rents for $2,000. All right. And then the folks that are above 600, so this is really 600 to 649, is going to qualify for this 2% down, 5% equity build. They're going to put 2% down, and we need to build an additional 3% over 3 years. So that's 3% of what we paid for the home divided by 36 monthly payments is their equity savings piece. And that works out to be about 10% of their monthly payment in that scenario. The 2% down, 5% equity build is about, the equity savings piece of their monthly payment is about 10%. So if it was a budget of 2,000, they're going to be looking for homes that rent for about 1,800, right? Because their equity piece is only 2. So it gives them a lot more room in their budget for the rent portion, the less equity that they're building. The 650 plus FICO scores, 1% down, building to 5%. So you can see here, they can do a 1% down payment, which is so nice, right? But they're going to have another 4% that they have to build, which means their equity savings piece each month is going to be a little bit more than the ones down below, that 5%, 2% down, 5%. So that one is about 12.5%. It's about 12.5% of their monthly payment in that group is the savings piece. Okay.
And do we have a live example? Do you have an example in here that we can kind of just see? I'm a visual person. I see the percentages, but
that's a great idea. I think we can do that in your
Okay.
agent portal,
Okay.
possibly. Yeah.
And what I'm referring to is more so the equity piece and building that equity, right? And so if they're building that equity, and let's say they have the 5% that they need to get to, the portion of the rent that is going towards the equity fund and that percentage, is it based on the sales price or is it based on the monthly rental amount that they're paying?
Okay, so good question. If they do 2% down, that is based on what we buy the home for. And then they're building to 5% equity. That is also based on what we paid for the home. However, at the end of 3 years, if they buy the home from us, that 5% that we built that was based on what we paid for the home is actually going to be 5% of the buyback price because we are including some interest. Right? So what they're going to end up with is actually 5% of their price in 3 years, which is really cool.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. And in your agent portals, Nicole, on the left side, there's the calculator, and I don't have a way, I can share my screen in a little bit and we can kind of go through one, but I would have to do like a specific client to do that because I can't really share kind of the back end.
Sure. No, I understand. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then above 680, they can build to 3%, which is really cool. Their equity savings piece each month is really low, and they have a lot more room in their budget for the rent portion. So they can get a much higher priced home than someone who has to build to 10% because they have more room for rent, right? Good. And then those folks.
Okay.
Yeah. And then those folks that are building to just 3%, we would want them to be saving some on their own, right, as they're renting so that they have the closing costs for that when they get ready to buy, because they won't have quite as much saved. Okay, Josh. And here I just wanted to just really reiterate this, how our monthly payments are structured. There are two components to the monthly payment: rent plus the equity savings. The rent is calculated by an internal algorithm specific to that property: bedrooms, bathrooms, lot size, square footage, and the zip code that it's in. And we align with market rent in most cases, and we can talk about that a little bit further too. The equity savings is designed to build their savings, build their ownership in the home, and it is held in a reserve account. So it's not mingled in with Divvy's money. It's actually in a reserve account that is specific for that property, where we hold their down payment, and then the equity piece each month is added to it. So that's building. And when clients are renting with us, their portal will show them how much they have built in equity at any given time, and how much their cash out value is. If they decide to walk away, how much they're going to have in cash, how much their buyback value is, how much they have held there. So that's really cool for them.
Nice.
To watch. Yep. And so this is what it looks like, for us. Monthly payment budget $2,838, and you'll see this for your clients. And then the home price range $340 to $350. A lot of agents just are thinking home price, and they will pull a list at $350. And there are going to be a lot of homes priced at $350 that don't fit that monthly payment. And so you'll want to use the calculator in your agent portal to price the homes and make sure that it does fit before we, get the client really excited about a home that just doesn't fit. Maybe that house has 5 bedrooms and 18 bathrooms, and it's just really high. Any questions about how our payments are structured? I love to talk about this.
I think it's amazing. We'll open it up and see if any of the participants that are on have any questions for Kim about the payments and how they're structured. Y'all don't be shy. Not often we can get a Divvy representative to join us.
I wanted to ask, in what instances do you find people with a 680 or a 700 credit score opting to go the Divvy route?
Quite often, actually, quite often. And the reason is, yeah, and I think a big reason why right now is savings. So maybe they want the cash offer. That's really big right now. Obviously, maybe they want the cash offer, or maybe they just don't have the savings. So folks are qualified, maybe based on their credit and income and all that, but maybe they don't have $20,000, $30,000 in the bank for that down payment and closing costs. And so with Divvy, they can get in with 1% with that FICO score and then work on building that so that they can purchase as soon as they get ready for that. It's actually really common.
Right, and I know I've had clients that opted to go the Divvy route because, you know, they're just moving into the Atlanta area. They're not sure what area they want to be in. They're not ready to settle down and purchase a home yet, but they have the income, they have the credit score, you know, and they want the option to be able to purchase the home if they want to purchase a home. And so in that instance, you know, that's another time that they opt to do something like this because of that reason.
And sometimes it's also great for individuals who are separated or they're going through a divorce. They're trying to find a home. I know in my client situation, they're separating. He is self-employed and 1099 and wasn't overly concerned about making sure from a tax perspective that he was reporting all of his income. So even though his credit is excellent, he doesn't qualify for the traditional route. So we chose to go with the Divvy program to give him an opportunity to make sure the next 2 years his tax returns reflect his total income, and he'll be able to qualify the traditional route without having to put 20 to 30% down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are both really good. Thank you. Thank you both for those. Relocations, especially in Atlanta right now, are huge. And you can market for relocations specifically also. Yes, and then divorce, that's a big one too. A lot of folks going through that. That's pretty common here too. So lots of different, I think it's really, I think it's a misunderstanding a lot of times where people think I can get a mortgage. I've talked to so many customers and they say, I can get a mortgage. I got approved already. And if that's the case, great. That is amazing. But if there's any reason why it's a struggle or it's just not working, you know, FHA offers are just not working right now. We know that. And so Divvy's offers all cash. It's a quick win for folks.
I agree.
Yep, and that's what a lot of clients are doing right now, especially because of that cash offer.
Yes. Yes. And with the FHA, if we do a cash offer, we get them in the home, they can purchase anytime, but they'll have to wait at least 3 months if they're going to go FHA to purchase from Divvy, but they can definitely do that. Just need to wait 3 months to season that before they do.
Okay.
Great. I love the questions. All right, so Divvy will turn your unqualified lead into a home buyer. You will keep all of your commission, so it is whatever the seller is offering. In most cases, I think it's 3%. That's all yours. We close in 10 to 14 days. 10 is our quickest close. We, sometimes say up to 21 days just to leave some buffer in case there's negotiations on repairs and such, but a clean close here can happen in 10 days. So fast, all cash, and we avoid appraisals at all costs and no appraisal. We are going to do our own inspection. The inspections are quite thorough, and it's going to align in a lot of ways with an FHA inspection. So you can think of it that way. But it happens really quick. And I'll tell you, we've been around for almost 5 years now. Our offers team has it down. I can tell you, I've been here for a while. Offers are going out within 2 hours. The team knows what they're doing, and it is seamless. So easy, so fast. We are.
I'm sorry, Kim. How long does it take the approval process for the client?
For the client, it can take a couple of days.
Okay.
It really depends on whether we get the documents that we need the first go around.
Okay.
In the application, it's good if they can upload everything that they have, right? Anything that we need, not leave any sections empty, like the background check section that requires permission. They have to give permission to run a background check. That's one that I see sometimes folks leave. And then proof of funds. Sometimes folks don't upload their proof of funds. If they can give us all of their income documents, agree to the background check, upload their photo ID, give us a bank statement to verify proof of funds, we can have them fully approved in 24 to 48 hours. Really quick. The back and forth sometimes is underwriting, after 48 hours looks at the file and says, oh, we actually need this other thing. And then, the agent doesn't know, right? The client maybe didn't see the email. And so there's just a, communication gap there. And so sometimes it can sit and then that causes a delay. And so that's one thing that I can offer for you guys here. Let me know if you have questions about files that are sitting in underwriting. I can definitely take a look and push those through for you.
And
Perfect.
Kim, how should they reach you?
Kim@divvyhomes.com. That is the best way. I'm watching my email all day and we'll usually get back to you within an hour.
One question I do have about the background check. What is it on there that would prevent someone from renting?
Several things, mostly felonies. And I can send you, it really depends on the offense. And I can send you something that outlines specifically.
Mhm.
It's mostly felony.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome, okay.
All right, good. So just comparison, this is going to be a pretty quick slide here, comparing. You guys understand, I think by now, conventional requires a high down payment and a lot of times an appraisal gap. And that's another thing too, I was going to mention, the funds for closing right now, down payment and closing is high. And then, an appraisal gap is required in a lot of cases for these. And it just, folks just struggle with that. I recently bought a house and struggled with that myself. And so, yeah, so Divvy's all cash, no appraisal is really the big one there. And then bidding wars, you guys know that right now our win rate is above 50%. It's between 50 and 60%. And in this market, we're not the only cash buyer, but I'll tell you that our offers team is putting out offers that they expect to win. They are putting out competitive offers. We're not going to even waste our time sending an offer that we don't think is going to win, or, lowball offers is just not a thing anymore, obviously, but we never did that anyway. Our offers team is here to win. And you can count on that. And they're going to go out quick. And also our offers team is going to prepare the purchase agreement for you. They're going to give you a call, they're going to talk about what we think we need to offer, and they're going to draft that up and send it to you to extend to the seller. It all happens pretty quick and it is simple. And then quicker close, like I said, 10 to 14 days, can go to 21 if we have seller repairs we need to negotiate. And then, like I said, Divvy's going to prepare the purchase agreement. We have a staff of professional buyers and they know what they're doing and it's working. So any questions on any of this? I feel like some of it's rambling. I think I've mentioned this already, a lot of these things, and I know that you guys have experience and understand these things as well.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
So of course we know that the offers are cash and it eliminates the bidding war and the appraisal gaps. But what happens if you've offered, 50,000 above what they're asking, the property doesn't appraise, and in 3 years, what happens if you spent more on the property than what it's worth for that buyer if they decide they want to purchase that home? Are you requiring an appraisal at that time, or that's not? They don't have to go through that process when they're buying it directly from you all?
Yeah, good question. When they're buying it from us, they will need an appraisal for their lender. But I'll tell you, we're not going to just go sky's the limit. We're not doing that. We're not going to offer more than what we think the house
It's
was
worth.
appraised for, right, is worth. So you can feel confident in that. We're not going to make a crazy offer that doesn't make sense. If the home doesn't appraise when the customer gets ready to buy it back, they have options. They have 3 different options. They can walk away, and they can just walk away, which nobody wants to do, right? We don't want them to do that. But the risk for them really there is just 2% of what we paid for the house. If the house doesn't appraise, maybe they don't want it anyway, right? Divvy stuck with a home that's not appraising. So maybe they don't want it. They can walk away and lose 2% of what we paid for it. They can make up the difference, right? So they can make up the difference in what it appraised for and what their buyback price is if they wanted to do that, or they can wait. If it's at the end of 3 years, we can extend their lease another year into a 4th year. If they decided, in the 12th month, they wanted to buy back and it didn't appraise, they can wait, wait a few months and try again.
But Divvy does its due diligence in advance when they're doing the underwriting in regards to the comps, doing the CMA, all that on it, so they know what they're offering is within line, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you, we don't want to price the customer out of the home that they want to buy. Our goal is for our customers to buy their home. That's what we want. We don't want it back. We want them to buy it, right? And so we're not going to offer more than we think it's worth, because we don't want that buyback price for them to be more than it's worth, right? Absolutely. They're really careful about that. And you guys may see, you may see this when you put in offers, right? The offers team will say, we can only go up this high. And you might say, but it's going to take more. And they're going to say, we can't do it. It's not, the value's not there. So yeah.
It's true.
Slide, Josh.
All right. Eligibility, home eligibility. We are buying single family and townhomes. Single family homes and townhomes. They need to be ready to move in. Generally, we're not buying fixer-uppers. If you see a listing, especially when you're looking in the lower price points, you'll see investment property sold as is. We don't make offers on those. The offers team will decline to make an offer if it is listed in the description as an investment property, or sold as is a definite hard no. The major systems need to be in good working order. HVAC can't be more than 18 years old. That's a big one. Roof is also pretty important when you're out looking at a home. Make sure that the roof looks like it's in good condition. We're not going to buy a home that looks like it needs a new roof in the next 5 years. We don't want our customer in a home that when they get ready to buy, they're faced with a home that needs hefty repairs, and we don't want them either. Obviously, foundation, mold, termites, rental code compliant. We need to be able to rent the home that we buy. So that's another thing too. In some communities, there are rental restrictions. HOAs, you'll want to watch for that. We don't buy manufactured homes, and we don't buy condos. Any questions on eligibility? Home eligibility.
You all also buy new construction as well.
Does Divvy buy anywhere? Okay.
Good question, Nicole. We do buy new construction. It has to be a home that has been started. It needs to be set for completion within 90 days. And the reasons our approvals are good for 90 days. That's one answer to that, why that is, but we don't buy lots. We don't buy empty lots and create a house for someone. It's, we're looking at mostly spec homes. There are some that are built like that, and that's fine as long as it's going to be ready in 90 days. We buy in the greater Atlanta area, about 30 different counties, about an hour and a half, maybe a couple hours outside of Atlanta. And
I have a question.
Yes.
So are we looking for these properties on our own and then we're submitted them to Divvy to be approved? Okay.
Yeah, so Divvy can buy any home on the MLS, any home, even a for sale by owner, any home. So if you find a home, you can put that into the calculator in your agent portal to get the payments for that home. That's what you'll want to do to make sure that it fits your client's budget. It does not have to be a home that you see on our site. The homes on our site are pulled in through a third-party MLS service, and it is not as current as what you see.
Right.
Okay.
So if you're using our site to search for homes, you're not seeing everything that is that's available. One thing that I would use that site for, though, our search feature, are the ready to move in properties. And what those are, you'll see those up at the top when you search. On our website, you'll select your metro area as Atlanta, and at the top, you'll always see homes that have a green tag that says move-in ready. What those are Divvy owned properties, and we call them re-divvies, and we own them. And if your client wants one of those, they are first come, first serve, and no negotiations. You just let us know your client wants us. We'll initiate the offer and send them an agreement. We can get them in within a week in those homes. They are ready to go. And I'll tell you right now, we have, I think maybe 5 or 6, but there are another 5 or 6 that are in clean out ready, almost ready to be available. They're great options for clients that need to move ASAP. So I would always watch for that.
Is
And
there
then
any
yeah, go ahead, Nicole. I was gonna ask that.
is there any compensation for the agent if they
Yes.
choose one of the ready homes?
Yes, the agent commission on those is 2%.
Awesome.
Yes.
And also, I wanted to share with you guys, if you have clients who may already occupy property that they want to buy, and the owner is willing to sell it, Divvy is really good with those as well. They work very well with for sale by owners and clients who are currently renting a property and now they want to buy it.
Yes, that is right. And for those, because there's not going to be an active listing, we wouldn't be able to price the home for them unless we know what they are selling it for. So what we need to know from you guys is, what does the seller want for the home? And we will price that home based on what they're asking for it. And then we'll also need photos. So 10 photos of the inside and the outside, as much as you can share for the offers team, because they always need photos. And again, if there's a listing that only has one picture, you're going to always need to get photos for that. Otherwise, they will ask you for them and you may have to go back out. So just always make sure that there are listings for or photos for the listing, and those for sale by owners, we need to know what they're going to ask for the home, and we need photos. But yeah, that's a great call out.
And so, Kim, you're getting a good feedback in the chat. Talia says, wow, clients get to keep their equity. Tina says, yep, that's good. Edwina says, this is amazing. This is dope. And then Denisha says, it's interesting and cool. And Sharonda says, do they service FI?
Florida, FL.
Florida. Oh, for
Yes.
Florida. Okay. What's that? Okay.
We do. And you guys are awesome. Thanks for all of that. Yes, we do purchase in Florida. And I think there are 5 markets. So I'm going to try to remember them and name them: Orlando, Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Jacksonville.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, what if you have a client, because I wasn't signed up as an agent for Divvy and I had someone do it. How do you get that client under you?
Great question. Okay, so you're going to want to set up an agent portal, and you can do that on our website. Up at the top, there are tabs. One of them says agents. So just go there and set up an agent portal, and then email me your that client's email address. Send me their email address and I will pull up their file. If they are not already assigned to an agent, I will just automatically assign them to you. If they are and they want to work with you, they will have to reach out to us to request a reassignment. And you guys just know that is our policy. We're not going to take a client from anyone without that client asking specifically. And when that happens, we send an email to the original agent letting them know that their client has requested a new agent. So, we do that to protect everyone, but that's the process. And so get an agent portal and then send me that client's email address and I'll check for you. And if they are in there, I'll go ahead and assign them.
Okay, and which email again? I'm sorry.
My email is kim@divvyhomes.com.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. All right. Who should you picture as a Divvy customer? We have talked a lot about who the best candidates are for Divvy. This is just one. Janelle, she relocated from New York and needed a house for her kids and time to pay off student loans and to work on her credit. This is really a large percentage of our clients are single moms, single dads, maybe even empty nesters, folks who had kids and that moved out and they've never actually owned a home before. Just a wide range. This chart is really cool and it's for Florida, but it's actually very similar across the country. These are actually pulled from our sales team when they speak to the clients. A new customer has an approval. The sales team is going to call them and say, what brought you to Divvy? Why Divvy? What is it that you needed? And this is the result. And so what's really cool for me to see is how big that savings piece is. It's really, the clients really like that savings piece that we help them get ready. And then also credit score is always going to be a big one. Cash offer is getting to be more and more a reason. And then you can see the divorce, separation, income seasoning, that would be your self-employed independent contractor folks. And flexibility is also a really big draw for people, maybe the relocations, or also, just they don't know yet, right? They don't know what's going to happen and they don't want to maybe buy a house, because if you buy a house today and then decide that you don't want it after a couple of years, it's going to cost you a lot more to get out of it, probably than 2%. So that's, I think, really cool to see. Anybody want to talk about any of these or have questions about this? And again, just to reiterate, the sales team is calling new approved customers. So when they get an approval, the sales team gives them a call, talks to them about their approval, explains how their budget works, answers all of their questions about Divvy, and then they will immediately give you a call and say, hey, Nicole, I just spoke to your client. She's fully approved. Do you have any questions about her budget? Is there anything that I can help you with? So you'll also get that call. Yeah. All right, where to look for your clients? Would-be buyers who aren't quite mortgage ready. Obviously, the FHA, the VA buyers are losing out to cash offers right now. Renters, I think you can market specifically to renters. You can create an ad that looks like a rental ad. You can put that on Craigslist. I have a sheet of customizable ads that I can send out to everyone if you don't have it, if I haven't sent it to you yet. But we have ads that you can customize. And I think marketing to renters is so smart. Because they are looking for a rental because they don't think they can buy.
Right.
but they can. And, you know, our upfront is very similar to what they would expect with a rental, right?
Mhm.
There's going to be a down pay or deposit, right? A deposit in first and last or something like that. It's going to mirror
Mhm.
in a lot of ways what our upfront costs are. And independent contractors and self-employed. Let's see, relocators, you can market relocations specifically. So marketing relocations and to renters, I think is really smart. And then cautious clients who aren't really ready to take that risk.
Right.
You know, the 2% that they would lose if they didn't complete the lease term and buy, that is a little bit more palatable for people, I think. And then also going back to the cap on our appreciation, right? Homes are appreciating right now so fast. I know mine is, and I'm really glad I bought it when I did. But capping that appreciation at 7%, and it's not even in a lot of cases reaching 7%. What I've seen is an average of like 3 to 4% a year is what we're doing in a lot of cases. So nailing in that buyback price right now is I think a smart thing to do too.
Good point.
Yep. Okay, so this is a screenshot of oh my gosh, thank you, Josh, you have it. Very good. This is a sheet that I can send out or Josh can send out. Really lots of good ideas here if you're looking for some new ideas, different marketing strategies. We have videos about how to create a Craigslist ad, listing ads, example listing ad there, social media images you can download. Lots of good ideas here, folks. And then Canva templates. So if you use Canva templates there's also a link to an ad that one of our agents created. That's really cool. Right there, make your own, if you go back up a little bit right there, make your own short social media video. That's a link that one of the agents did, just a little quick clip explaining Divvy. And you can do that and post it on your Facebook page or whatever. Lots of really good ideas here.
All right, next slide, Josh. Josh, we're waiting on you. All right.
I think that was it. Good.
That
And
is it. We finished just on time.
Yay. And I also have some other resources that I can send out to you guys, a sheet on objection handling, and then also a sheet on how to pitch Divvy for different types of customers. And that's, I think, really helpful too. So I'll send those
Yes.
to Nicole if you want.
Yes, absolutely. Please send them to
Definitely.
Naysha and I, and then we can make sure that the team members have it. So guys, now is your time. We're wrapping up. Do you have any questions for Kim?
I don't
Alicia,
have
did-
any questions. This
I
is
do.
Charisma, but I did want to make a statement. I've closed a number of transactions with Divvy, and I did want to point out one thing that works really well for your clients who may not qualify for a mortgage but may have the funds. I closed a couple with Divvy where my client wanted a home that was more than what Divvy budgeted them for. And on the agent portal, it allows you to manipulate your numbers. And so the homes that two clients actually wanted were more expensive than what Divvy's budget for them was. And so what the calculator allows you to do is to kind of customize it. So if you play with the numbers, we just increase the amount we put down in order for it to balance out. So I can't really remember, but we'll say their budget was $1,500 a month, but the house that they really wanted exceeded that and would have made it like $2,000 a month. And so Divvy allow us to play with the bar, to play with the calculator, to say, well, if we increase our down payment by $800, then it'll make us almost within budget. But if we, increase the down payment $1,200, then it'll get us within range. And so you do have that option as well. So even though you are working off of a budget, if your client has the funds to be able to put a little bit more down, they'll be able to get a higher, more expensive home that they may want and just put a little bit more money down and still, be able to walk away with the house. So I just didn't want people to, if you start working with Divvy and they're given a budget, but you're not able to find a home that they like within that budget, you can manipulate those numbers a little bit to make it work for your client.
I just had a question
go
on
ahead.
that, Carissa.
ahead.
So, but if they had that, extra amount of down payment to put down, wouldn't they have gotten a higher budget to begin with? Not necessarily.
No,
No,
because initially
because
it's only 2% down.
the
I'm
budget is based on their
My
income.
computer is like going in and out. Sorry.
The budget is based on their income, not how much money they have in the bank.
Okay.
Yep, yep. And another thing I wanted to quickly mention to Charisma's point, I think it's really great idea to do that if you can. But right now, since we're offering above list on everything, if you find a house that works for your client's budget at list, and we have to offer 6 or 7% above, it might not work for their budget. So if they don't have any additional funds for a higher down payment, I would search for them lower than their budget. I would give a little bit of room for an escalated offer price. Just an idea, because that is a reason for a lot of canceled offers where, we'll get an offer and then we'll say, well, we have to offer this, but then it no longer fits the budget if we do that. And I think in the portal, you can also adjust the offer price too, to make sure that it would work. So you can play around with the calculator, but thanks Charisma for mentioning that. The calculator is great. So great.
I have a question. Do you guys work with clients with tax ID numbers?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Okay, guys, any more questions? Hold on 1 minute. Talia says, is there a checklist for closing that the agent needs to complete?
Yes. There is. You mean like a walkthrough?
Do you mean like a walkthrough,
Checklist for
Talia? Yes,
Yes, you will do a walkthrough. Mhm.
yes. You
Yeah.
normally do it the day of closing, right?
Day of closing. Mhm.
And then,
Okay.
you have to upload photos. The agent has to go and take pictures.
Yep,
Got
that's
it.
right.
Okay,
That's right.
same thing.
And then, yep, that's right.
Nicole, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, my laptop died. All right, any other questions? We're good to go? We had one more in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm your contact here for anything agent success, you guys, anything that I can do to help you be more successful with Divvy, get your clients through, any questions I can answer for you. That's what I'm here for. So please reach out to me. Feel free. I'm here to help you and excited to do it.
Yes, Kim, thank you so much. This
Yes,
has been
thank you.
amazing. Yeah, been really, really awesome.
has.
And guys, if you found value in the information that we shared with you today, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to TCRG Closing the Gap. We're here every single Wednesday at 4 p.m. with valuable information to help you grow your business. And don't forget, get your tickets and join us on March 10th for
Closing the Gap
Closing the
Live.
Gap Live. Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, 4 p.m. at the Riverside Epicenter in Atlanta. You don't want to miss it. That's it. Coach, anything else you want to add?
That's it.
That's it, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you
guys.
all.
See y'all
Thanks
next
again,
week.
Kim. See you next week.
Thank you.